I keep talking about how to work with a single monitor or a single screen so that your workflow is effective and efficient. But you guys haven't seen that in action. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I work with my laptop. No additional screen, no additional monitors, just one screen, my laptop keyboard as well. I'm gonna show you the keyboard shortcuts that I use, the applications that I use. It's not going to be a tutorial on how to set everything up because that would take us hours, probably days. But I'm going to give you a general idea on the workflow that I use when I am just using my laptop. I mean, when I disconnect it and I take it to my bed, I take it to the couch somewhere, and I work from there. So you'll be able to see the key maps that I use, how I switch between applications, pretty much everything. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is just pick a song to play. Okay, so going to be playing this album. It's called This. This is the cover. Volume 1. There's two volumes. Volume 1, 2. I added both to my queue. It's not popular. It's in Spanish, but this is my favorite bass player of all times. So even if you don't understand Spanish, try to listen to it. Follow the bass and the drums. Just listen to the synergy that those two guys have. A great bass player, so I highly recommend it. Now, I don't have anything planned, anything scripted for this video, so we're just gonna roll. We're just going to improvise along the way. So, what do I have connected to my laptop right now? Just the power here on the left side, and on the right side, I have my microphone. That's it. I don't have anything else. And you can see my hands here on the keyboard. This is my iPhone that is being used as the camera. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm doing in my keyboard. So, what should we start with? Let me switch to a scene that shows my camera so you guys can see what's going on with my keyboard. So, I'm just gonna type something here and notice that something showed up on my screen right now. Let me see if I'm recording. Yep, I'm recording. Just need to check. Pretty difficult because I cannot see what's going on. Okay. But you notice on macOS here, I have an indicator on what scene I'm on. This, I know that is my keyboard. Well, you cannot see that right now, but let me switch to my screen. You're going to see this main screen in blue. Okay. So this means that I'm on the OBS scene called main screen. This helps me see, or this helps me understand what OBS is capturing at the moment. Okay, so let me switch to the other scene. You guys should be looking at my keyboard at this moment. Okay, so let's start with the basics and let's go from there. How do I switch between applications and how do I use my keyboard? Okay, so I use the right command key and the left command key a lot. Okay, the right command key is like hyper. It's where I keep all my different sub layers. Okay, so if I type this key here, I want to activate the applications sub layer, which is this one here. I can activate it. So I type this and then I can type any of the keys with any of my fingers to switch between applications. For example, my terminal is this J, my browser is this, OBS is here, one password is P, and so on, right? I have a lot of them. I'm gonna show you where I configure those and how I do that as well. I use Kanata, by the way, right? So that is one of the sub layers. I'm gonna show you how all that works when I switch to the other scene, but I just want you to see this in the keyboard for now, okay? So what if I wanna switch the OBS scene? Type this, which is my sublayer key, my main hyper key, we could say. Then the O sublayer. So I just leave the O pressed. Okay. I am inside the OBS sublayer right now. So I can switch scenes with any of these fingers here. When I'm working with multiple guests, I switch to their screens that way. Guest one, guest two, guest three, guest four, their cameras, or no, their screens. Or if I want to switch to their cameras, it is above here. If I want to switch to my screen, or if I want to switch to all of us in the screen, is the letter I, right? So that is the O sublayer. And that is the way that I switch between scenes. Okay, so if I type right now this O and M, going to switch to my main screen. You guys should be looking at my screen right now. I don't know what happened to the song. Why is it repeating? It moved to the next one. Okay, there we go. So that is the way that I switch applications. Let me show that again to you. Here, right command, left command, H is gonna take me to Spotify, right? Right command, left command, I'm in the application sublayer here. One is gonna take me to the terminal, or J, K is gonna take me to my browser. Always gonna take me to OBS, but you will not be able to see that. One, H to Spotify. I cannot open all of them right now because I have sensitive information all over the place, but this gives you an idea on how that works. Just lost power, so let's just give it a minute. Okay, there it is. Just came back up. So when I'm working on the laptop, that is something that I do a lot. Switch between applications. But it's really tiring. Let's say that I'm on the browser and then I switch to the terminal. I don't want to type the entire key map the whole time, right? So again, to switch to the browser, to switch to the terminal, no. Usually I want to switch between the last two applications. In my case, I type the letter Z, right? So that is the same as if I'm sending a command tab, right? I tap the letter Z for a few milliseconds. That switches between the last two applications. Now, my keyboard is a really essential part of my workflow. It is mapped exactly the same way than my Glove 80 keyboard is mapped. Okay, I do that with Kanata. So, for example, if I type O here and go down, you're gonna notice that Enter is here on the right thumb. This right command is not command. This is actually enter. So if I type this, notice that it's typing enter. What about the left command? This is not left command at all. This is backspace. Okay. So notice that this is right. This is enter. This is backspace. Just gonna switch to the next song. So I have a key map here. If I press S, just leave it pressed. Now I type O, gonna switch to the next song. We're gonna see that maybe in a little while. But just keep that in mind. This is enter, this is backspace. Command is completely disabled on my MacBook keyboard. Why? Because I want the exact same workflow on my Glove 80 and on my laptop keyboard. I don't want to think, I don't want them to be different. No, that is the exact same way that it works on the Glove 80. I have my space in the Glove 80 and the thumb keys, and if I move, enter, backspace. So both of them are exactly the same way. So where is command then? And where is control? Okay, so if I switch to a different file here, let me switch to my dot files, okay? How do I do control U, control D in neovim, which is something that you do way too often, right? Control U brings you up half a page. Control D brings you down half a page. So I configured homerow mods with Kanata as well. Control is in the A key. So if I leave this pressed, I'm just typing control right now. Then I type U to go up or D to go down. How would I do this if I was not using homerow mods. Control is all the way here. So I would have to do Control U, Control D. Just look at that hand stretch. You're young probably, and you probably use Arch. You're probably wearing a fursuit right now. But when you're 37 like me, this is going to affect your hands. You will not feel it right now. Man, in my 20s, I was just doing a lot of crazy stuff. So if you want to think about yourself in the future, try to minimize those stretches because they will cause pain in the long run. So that's the reason why I use homerow mods for some of the keys, not all of them, right? So control is here, and the letter D I have option, and the letter F is command. No, this is command, the letter D is command. Let me switch to the other um, scene so you can see my keyboard. So this is control, this is another layer S, this is command, this is option. Okay, so if I want to type command tab, here is command, the letter D. I just leave it pressed and tab is up here. I don't like this stretch. It's horrible, but whatever. If I want to go back, here is shift on the right hand side, command, I'm pressing command, shift, tab, right? So that is the way that I use to switch apps in case that I need it, using the little window on macOS. Let me switch to my keyboard or to my screen, right? So again, here's command, tab, and if I press shift here on the right hand, I can go back. Okay. Sometimes that is useful. I rarely use it, but it's there available just in case. So as you're able to tell, I don't navigate applications using an app launcher like Raycast. I just to each one of the applications using a keyboard shortcut. So my keyboard is essential for my workflow. It allows me to go where I want to go without thinking. I don't have to think. When I go to OBS, I bring up a tool and I tap open. God damn, that's useless, right? Or grab my mouse or search for the application down here in the dock. What? Are we 80 years old? No. If I want to go to the browser, if I want to go to OBS, if I want to go to the terminal, just do it right away. So I use the keyboard for everything pretty much. My shift key was in the letter S and in the letter L, right? Because the home row mods are in both places. But I moved back the shift key to its place, to its dedicated keys, because it doesn't make much sense. It's a key that you use a lot. Home row mods introduce a delay, right? So you have to wait a small delay. If I want to type control U and control D, it press A, but I have to leave it pressed for, I don't know, like 300 milliseconds. It's not a lot, right? So let me show you right now. I'm gonna press it and I can go up, down. It's just a small delay, right? But you get used to it with time, right? But that means that you can use each one of the keys for two different things, right? So if I type here A, if I tap it fast, just the letter A, right? But on the other hand, if I leave it pressed, control, right? U and D, right? Now, I used to have shift here, the letter S, but I moved it away because you type uppercase letters a lot. Okay, so shift is just here and on the left hand side as well, right? I alternate my hands. If it's going to be an uppercase letter, left shift here, right hand, or if it's just going to be letter on the left hand side, I use the right shift and type it with my left hand, right? So shift is on its dedicated key, but the rest of them are here in the home row basically, on the left hand and on the right hand. What else do I do a lot when I'm in my laptop? I switch between sessions. You notice here, I'm in my daily note, right? But if I want to go to my dot files, I type another shortcut. If I want to go to my notes, I type another shortcut. I use a different sublayer, right? So again, my main sublayer key, which is right command, T, which is for Tmux. I don't use Tmux anymore. I used Tmux in the past, but I don't anymore. And then I just type where I want to go. J is my dot files, H is my home session, U is my notes, for example, L is my blog post, and so on. Okay, so that is just another sublayer to switch between Tmax sessions. I already showed you how I switch applications, how I switch between Tmax sessions, okay? Which is now Kitty sessions, and I have videos about all this. I just muted my microphone just in case you didn't notice right now. If I press the letter S, if I leave it pressed and then I type, it mutes and unmutes all my different microphones, right? So that's something that I do often as well. But you notice we're focusing a lot on the keyboard. I'm not going to go over a Kanata configuration or anything right now. Here is my Kanata file. I have videos about Kanata. Just search linkarzu Kanata and you'll be able to find all of them and understand what's going on. Now, the screen the window manager, I'm sorry, plays a huge part as well. Notice that I keep an application on the screen at a time, right? So I'm in my terminal here, I'm on my browser here, right? So one of them on the screen at a time. The window manager that I use is Yabai. So Yabai takes care or takes advantage of macOS desktops, right? It does not implement its own virtual feature or its own virtual way of working. No, it uses what's built in to macOS. And that is the reason why I use Yabai. There's other ones. Aerospace is really popular. It creates its own virtual environment and it creates spaces there. I don't like that additional layer on top. So Yabai is more than enough for me. Some people say that it's not performant, whatever, but this is what works for me a lot. When I work with a single screen, the applications are configured to open on different desktops, right? So for example, notice that on this desktop, the terminal is by itself. But if I switch to desktop one, you're gonna see that these applications are on this desktop. And how does that happen? How do I configure that? Let me just quickly switch the song here. Yep, this one is good. So I'm just going to open my Yabai RC file and let's go to the bottom of the file. Here's where I do that. Okay, and here's where I specify I want desk 3 to be on the BSP layout. The rest of them are in the stack mode, as you're able to see here. Stack? What is stack? One application on the screen at a time. I don't use tiles. Tiles are not effective. The only reason or the only situation in which I use tiles is if I'm doing a live stream and I want to see YouTube chat, I want to see Twitch chat, and I want to see what the Twitter chat. I want to see all of them at the same time. But desk 3 is set to tiles just in case that I need to open multiple terminals here, right? So notice that I'm going to open an additional terminal, brings it up, another one, another one. These are just kitty terminals, but since this desk 3 is configured in BSP mode, it opens them that way, okay? Desk 5, that is where I keep the different chat applications. When I'm working with multiple screens, I have some conditions here, right? There are some sensitive applications that I never want on this screen or on the screen that I'm streaming, like Discord, Element, WhatsApp, my mail, one password, YouTube Studio, all of these applications, I move them to the target space variable that you see here. And what is that? I have a condition here. If there is more than one screen. Target space is set to desk 11. Desk 11 is on my second monitor. If there's only one screen, or if I'm only using one screen, set to desk 1. So all of these sensitive applications can open on desk 1. That is one of the drawbacks of recording with a single screen. If I open my mail and if I'm doing a live stream, you will see it. But if I'm using two monitors when streaming, if I open my mail, because of the conditions that I have here, it's always going to open on my second screen. For security reasons, of course. I don't want to show sensitive information, right? So that's one of the drawbacks of recording with a single monitor, but still doable. Haven't leaked anything sensitive yet, but just keep that in mind, okay? Now, I don't use this um, multiple instances of the terminal. Doesn't make sense. What would you use this small terminal here for? Nothing, man. So just gonna close this and yeah, just one instance on the screen at a time. And I just switch between the projects. If I switch to my notes here, let me bring up my test file, right? So I'm in this session. I switch back to the other session. Notice that I do that with the letter B as in boy, right? So if I leave B pressed for 300 milliseconds, it's gonna go back to the alternate session. Notice that I'm switching between the dot files and the Obsidian session. Extremely useful because you do that a lot. Remember, how do I switch between apps? With the letter X, right? So I type X and it switches between apps. B switches between kitty sessions, right? Or if I want to switch between two instances of the same app, let me bring it up here. Another instance of the browser, I do that with the letter X, right? So I have an instance of the browser here. With X, I switch between these two. I can open multiple tabs here on the browser, command tab, or whatever key that is. And let me hide this there. So notice that I have this instance here, the other instance here, right? So I can switch between the two instances of the same application with command tilde on Mac OS. And in my case, that is the letter X if pressed for 300 milliseconds, right? Can quickly switch between the tabs here. I can close them because I have other keymaps for that as well. Be effective stuff pretty fast, right? So I can fly around between my apps, between my sessions. As I'm talking, I'm just switching between them right now. And it becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it. You just go where you need to go pretty fast. I know what the complaint is gonna be, but I have to remember a lot of key maps, and my memory only has space for three key maps. Come on, man, grow up here. Basically, just learn a few key maps because in the long run, they're gonna make you way more effective, way faster. Do I remember all my key maps? Of course not. So I have to come here to my dot files. I have to open my Kanata file. I didn't remember how to switch to the previous or the next song, right? So I'm just gonna search here. Prev, where is it? Okay, prev. Okay, so here you can see that previous song is here and the next song is here. Pause is here. The system layer for me is the letter S, right? So if I type O, is gonna be the next song, right? Or if I wanna pause it, right here, or I unpause it as well. So the keyboard is a major part of my workflow. And if you want to learn about Kanata, just go and watch my videos about that. What else do I do on my laptop keyboard? You're gonna notice at the very top of the screen that there's this bar, right? This is SketchyBar on Mac OS. This shows me pretty useful information. I can see if my microphone is muted or not, right? And the level that the microphone has, the name and the level 29. If I mute it, this is going to switch to 0. So you're going to see right now, if I type SA, you saw how the microphone was muted there, was red. Then when I unmute it, it switches. This is another item that I added. This is something custom. So it shows me, okay, my main ISP is this one. My backup ISP is this one. This up arrow means that the backup ISP is up, right? Download speed, upload speed, not on my computer because that's not useful at all. That's just trash. I want to see my entire home download and upload, not speed, but what it's being used, the bandwidth that is being used at the moment for all of the devices in my home network. So this shows me that, right? Because if someone else in my house is downloading something, I will be able to see that here and I can go into my router, see what's going on. If I'm streaming, I can see my upload speed here quite effectively. It's useful, right? So I'm like, okay, using 20 megs, or if my main ISP goes down, I can see it here, right? So this is gonna switch, this is going to remove, and I'm just going to see my backup ISP. Or if my backup ISP goes down as well, I can see it. I will see an arrow pointing down, and the color of this is going to change, right? So I can call, let them know to fix it. So pretty useful. This helps me see the screen or the scene that I'm on, OBS scene, CPU, and what if I'm using headphones, the AirPods or different headphones or a different, audio source. If I'm on battery, I'm plugged in right now, the battery level. If I'm on Wi-Fi or if I'm on Ethernet, this icon changes. I'm on Wi-Fi right now. I'm on DND. How many brew packages are outdated, right? So if I run here brew updates, oh, this should update. I don't think it's 11. I think it's way more. I haven't updated packages in quite a long time. And the date. So, what else is useful on my laptop? Let me think. While we think, look at this beautiful song. Damn, this is a pretty good song. Let me tell you which one of my favorite songs and bass is. Um, let's see, this one. If you listen to this song, if there is one that you're going to listen to, it has to be this exact same album. And because they have a lot of different variations, and it's pretty difficult to find this album. You will be able to find it in Spotify. Other than that, if you search in YouTube, probably you're gonna find a different version, not the same bass player, but this one. If you listen to the way that this guy accompanies with his bass, the voice, how the drums play along, man, it's crazy. Okay, so what else do I do on the laptop? That's basically it, I think. Switch between apps. I spend most of the day in the terminal. I edit videos on the laptop as well, but I guess that's not something that you guys want to see. OBS, I already showed you how I switch scenes. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. The last thing that I want to do is thank the supporters, thank the CEO, Web23, web23.com. Really appreciate the support, man. Thank also the executive producers and all of the other YouTube members. If you don't want to become a member, the way that you can support me is by liking this video, also sharing it so that it reaches other people. And remember that all of the different interviews that I do with guests are available as podcasts as well in all of the different platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and all those. If I missed any ticks or trips, no, trips, I don't do trips anymore. I used to do it when I was younger, a lot of crazy and wild stuff. But if you want to see other stuff or how I use my laptop, let me know. and I'll create videos about it. That's simple. So, hope you learned something. Hope you find this useful. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.